let's get started. Tonight, we are talking about statement 2. Negative thoughts destroy only myself. My first conscious sober act is to reduce negativity in my life. Yes, Lisa, we are live. Welcome. So, statement 2. Here's a little history lesson, WFS history lesson. I love these. So, statement 2 actually started as negative emotions destroy only myself. I am not fond of that at all. I think it took the board quite a bit of convincing to get Jean to change this one, because this was the last statement that Jean Kirkpatrick, our program founder, changed. She changed it in 1993, and she changed it from negative emotions destroy only myself to negative thoughts destroy only myself. And I like that, because negative emotions or uncomfortable emotions or undesirable emotions are generally useful, right? Like, when I am uncomfortable with an emotion, it makes me create motion, right? So like, I was in an abusive relationship for a while, and it was the discomfort and the uncomfortable emotions that I had as a result of that relationship that finally got me out of it, right? So our uncomfortable emotions, they have a purpose. They have something that they're trying to teach us, and we need to learn that, and we need to learn from them. And so if we usually it's when we try to hide them or stuff them down or avoid them, that's when they multiply and get worse, and our problems multiply and get worse. So, out with negative emotions, destroy only myself. In with negative thoughts, destroy only myself. Now, originally, the thought action for this statement was, my first conscious sober act is to remove negativity from my life. And actually, when researching this, it was an hour. So originally, it was our first conscious sober act is to remove negativity from my life. And in the 2017 program booklet revision, we changed it up just a little bit to, my first conscious sober act is to reduce negativity in my life. Because obviously, as 2020 has proven, it's impossible to completely remove negativity from our life. There's always going to be something that's uncomfortable, unwanted, unwelcome, whatever. But to the degree that we are able, we can make a conscious effort to reduce that discomfort. Sometimes in early sobriety or in later sobriety, reducing that negativity does involve external things like bad relationships or bad jobs or bad environments or whatever. And so I think kind of the hidden part of the thought action for this statement is learning to let go of the things that don't serve us or are actively hurting us. That's a skill in and of itself, I think. So, a little bit more about statement 2. Is this toxic positivity? Right? Are we just denying that negative stuff happens? Absolutely not. Right? Hi, Bonnie. I see you. I see you, Sandy. Um, are we denying that negativity exists? We certainly are not. Okay? This is not toxic positivity. This is not pretending that everything is puppies and kittens when really it's a global pandemic and race riots, right? We're not pretending that everything is okay. But when we come to addiction, generally, we are super, super good at negativity. Like, really good. Like, I don't know about you, but I had negativity down. I was really good at being negative. It was my superpower. Negativity was my superpower. Now, a part of this, for those of us with alcohol problems, is that drinking actually, like, they've done research, and it actually, like, it causes anger and stress in the brain. So there's actually, like, some physical reasons that we get really, really good at negativity. Um, we also have this, like, learned seriousness, right? When your life is dominated by thoughts of drinking and using, or coping with the problems that are a result of your drinking and using, um, things tend to get pretty dark, right? So we're good at negativity, way too good at negativity when we come into sobriety. Nobody gets here because their life is going perfect. So what we need to focus on in recovery then is unlearning all that negativity and leaving room open for more positive thoughts, feelings, actions in our lives. Right? We need to make this conscious effort to cultivate more positivity in our lives. So how do we do that? Here's a couple tips, and we only have 10 or 15 minutes today, so here's just a few tips to help you get started on that. Just like with addiction, you can't change anything unless you acknowledge that it exists. So the first step is to get tuned in to your negativity, right? A lot of us don't realize how negative our brains are until we really sit down and look at it. So Jean, Dr. Kirkpatrick, the founder of the program, she recommended you just write down all your thoughts, right? And then when they're in black and white, you can really see the negative ones. They're gonna stand out. So just writing down your thoughts and then reading back through them and seeing the negative ones. One recommendation that Jean makes too is just all the negative ones, just cross them out. Just like take your pen and do a big black line right down the middle of it. And it's a symbolic thing, right? That you are literally crossing out that negativity. Our keynote, one of our keynote speakers from conference this year too, she recommended that if writing down your negative thoughts feels too much, even just making tick marks, right? Just counting, like every time a negative thought crosses your mind, just make a little tick mark. She had some crazy record of like 209 in an hour or something. But I kind of like that because it's not quite so involved. If you're not a writer and you don't like to write, you can just make little tick marks every time you have a negative thought and then go back, add it up. And I think most of us would be surprised at really how frequently we're having those negative thoughts if we really pay attention and write it down. Another thing that we can do, other things that you can do, like we've all heard of like tying a string around your finger. You can put like a rubber band on your wrist and you just snap it every time you have a negative thought. And that's just, again, bringing awareness to yourself of how frequently that's happening. So some of us are really physical. I'm a real kinesthetic learner, so having that little snap can be helpful, or some other kind of physical thing. And then, so what do you do after you become aware of all these negative thoughts? Well, the easiest thing to do, the most simple, is just the turnaround thinking, right? So how could you turn around that negative thought into something more positive? So if my thought is, I'm so dumb, how do I counteract that? I'm so smart, right? Or if that seems like too much of a stretch, like, I'm not entirely dumb. Hey, baby steps. If that's what it takes, then I'm not entirely dumb. Or I'm not dumb at math. Or I'm good at math even, right? Or I'm good at, I don't know, whatever you're good at, writing or makeup, who knows? Um, so that turnaround thinking is a great way to do it. And then there's a technique called stop thought. This is really simple. We all know what a stop sign looks like. I think it's fairly universal in most countries, that red octagonal sign, right? And the stop thought technique is literally like when you notice an unwelcome thought, you just think stop. You picture a stop sign in your head, and then you turn. So you're not trying to correct that negative thought. You're just going to go down a different road completely. So I'm thinking about, oh, I'm dumb. You know what? No. Let me think about that new TV show I started binge watching on Netflix. Whatever. So stop thought is it's not a turnaround. It's I'm going a different direction completely. So those are just a few tips on how you can practice statement number two, negative thoughts destroy only myself. My first conscious sober act is to reduce negativity in my life. If you have any questions, I'm going to fill some space for a couple seconds while people who want to put questions in the comment box can do that. We're having some brownouts here today, so if the lights kind of went out and then came back on, I have no idea what's going on here in Pennsylvania. But that just happened, so there's some time filler there. I'm not seeing any questions pop up in the comment box, so I'm going to take it that we are done here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I know that Judith has someone lined up for you for next week. That will be really great. And then I will be back predictably with statement number 3 in 2 weeks, talking about happiness being a habit that we can develop. So thank you so much.